Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Virgo Vortex, another video for Virgos for December. And let's all have a moment here because guess what's in the new Kundalini Keepsake Oracle deck? So this is one of my pride and joys. And yeah, you will see it, because we're going to be using it for the reading. But yes, it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's fantastic. All right, so for the Virgo Vortex reading, we're going to be using the Kundalini Keepsake Oracle. And we're also going to be using the other deck that I created, the Surrender Oracle. With new colors. So it's the Surrender Oracle, but it's a limited edition. All right. So we are going to do a general reading first, and we'll just see where we go. Okay, so what is the beginning of December going to look like? Kundalini cards from the Kundalini Keepsake deck. So the first card that we pulled was Breath of Fire. You can see because it's kind of, there we go. And this card is self-initiation. So with the Breath of Fire pose exercise, you can see that. So for the Breath of Fire situation, this is a self-initiation. It's activating your solar plexus. You are feeling empowered and you don't need external things in order to push you through your life. So the beginning of December, you're gonna be like, I'm on my second wind. So you're gonna feel sort of another movement of energy, because it feels like you've been a little bit like a little bit depleted, a little bit sad, a little bit like uneasy, because there's a lot of new changes that are coming in December, and there's 8,000 things happening within the planets, and you're feeling that in your body. But once you come into December, it's going to be a sort of a restart, and this is your time to prove to yourself that I can self-initiate on a regular basis, and I don't need something external to tell me how to do the do. The second card that I pulled was the bow pose. And this one says sacred posture. So it feels, so you can see in the thing, you're holding your ankles, and that's an uncomfortable position. If you haven't done it before, it's uncomfortable because you're usually not in that situation. So you're going to be put into situations where it's going to test you, it's going to stretch you, but it's also going to make you stronger, and you're going to feel more grounded because of it. And it kind of feels like there's going to be, you're creating another layer of a protection of cocoon around you and the things that you're creating in the world. And by you being able to hold a certain posture in a sacred way is going to emanate this certain energy around you, and people are going to take your creations more seriously because you have created strong boundaries around what you do. The third card that I pulled for the beginning of December was the plow pose. So I'm feeling like your mind is like, so there's a lot of thoughts reorganizing. There's a lot of things that are moving out. You're doing a lot of subconscious clearing. A lot of things are moving out of the space, but they're not going quietly. They're throwing tantrums. They're really upset with you. They're distracting at times, but you're still able to come into center, relax, and still complete the things that you want to complete, because you got to check off all those boxes. You're still going to be able to complete those things. You have the tools to relax the mind, so it's going to be really important for you to go to those tools and not allow the screaming and the whatever those thoughts are doing to distract you more than they usually do. Let's do some cards from the Surrender Oracle limited edition. So let's tap into your career. So we know if you are an entrepreneur, if you're doing things in the world right now, that's a service or a product. Obviously, coming into Christmas is going to affect you positively or negatively, depending on your relationship to the season and all of the it feels like a lot of forcefulness in regards to, I'm selling this, I'm doing this. It feels like there's a forcefulness in the way that people are putting product out or services out, but there's also sort of like this more casual way that people are putting their stuff out as well. So trying to build a relationship on what do I actually want to put out in the world and what I want to keep to myself, what I want to keep working on, because I'm feeling like there's some things that you have like on the back burner that you just have to turn the switch on and it can be running. But you're kind of like, well, I kind of want a little bit more time. So don't force yourself to complete or force yourself to bring that thing into the world if it's not ready. You know when it's ready, and you're gonna feel a little, anxious if you put that thing out if it doesn't have, the arms and the legs and the clothes and it's not ready to go. All right, so career. Okay. All right, so the first card that I pulled was a love mix. So this has a lot of meaning to it. So when I was creating this card, I was focusing on the different layers of the creation. So we obviously have to take two things, put them together, and then it creates a baby, or it creates some sort of creation. And you can see in the image how you can see the nervous system, you can see the brain, you can see the nerves, you can see the skin. So the things that you're creating for December are going to have a lot more potency, depth, resonance with the people that are interacting with them. So don't devalue your creations right now. It's going to be really important for you to stand your ground and boundaries on, this is the thing that I'm putting out, this is how much the thing costs, this is how much time I'm allowing people to be in the space. Like, we need to be very very vocal in the way that we are setting boundaries with our creations, because as we move into this new energy, it's like you are fully in control, fully in your power in regards to your creations, and no one can tell you the value of that. So if you're getting some sort of kickback, or people are kind of confused on what you're putting in the world, or they don't like how you're pricing, or they don't like your wording, it's like, it don't matter. You ain't part of my vibe. You ain't part of my team. And completely being okay with that, because you are creating a new path of creation that hasn't existed before, because you're so deep inside your creations. So just let that feed you and let that be your focus and your direction. The next card for career was a breathe with me. I'm sensing a lot of new ideas that are going to be like, you're going to be bombarded by so many new ideas, so many people, so many opportunities. And it's going to be interesting because you're going to notice the polarity between, here's all this magic that's happening, but here's also the world's falling apart, and that's not fantastic. You're gonna notice the polarity of the beauty of your life while other things are going on. So it's going to be really important for you to not avoid the chaos that's happening in the world, but also don't feel guilty or shameful for being so excited for these opportunities and people that are coming into the space. Because what I'm seeing is like a carpet rolling out, a carpet rolling out, a carpet rolling out. So there's sort of three sacred carpets, red, blue, and yellow, that are rolling out in front of you, and you are allowed to walk down all of them. And the people that are waiting at the end of those carpets they're okay to wait. Like, if you want to go red first, fantastic. If you want to go to yellow over here and you want to wait for blue later, like, they're okay with that, because they can see that you value yourself and your work. So they're like, I'll wait, whatever you want me to do. I'm going to wait for the thing that you can create with me. People are excited to co-create with you. So see the value in those co-creations. And this whole breathe with me, it feels like you're going to be so excited with these opportunities that you might fall off your self-practice. So it's going to be really important for you to be even more intense with your own practice, because you're going to have to build that focus while you're doing 8,000 things. And you're good at that anyway, but it's gonna have to be at a next level because of all the things that are going to be coming through. All right, the next card that I pulled for your career is you are a masterpiece. So we know we just looked at Breathe With Me and the co-creations and all the beauty that's going to be happening. So this whole masterpiece thing, you can see there's an emphasis on the throat. So your ability to speak in the world, your language, the way that your body is moving, the sound, the spaces in between the words, all of those things are going to be really important when you're communicating to these people that want to co-create with you. So don't rush, take your time. If they're like, I want this thing today, but you know, like, oh, well, I could probably download it in like 7 hours, but that would probably be like 4:30 in the morning. But it's, you know, it's still going to be fine. That, like, trust your timelines. Trust that you're not feeling it right now. You go do your practice, still not, like, it's not aligned right now. Trust that, and just, you know, I'm feeling 100%. I can just pump out this whole thing in one day. Fantastic. Allow yourself to breathe and be in that space, because everything that you're creating right now in your career for December is going to be brilliant. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be explosions. Everyone's going to be like, it's all great. But you have to trust your own process in the way that you go from A to B to C to D to E, F, G, and all of the things. All right, let's get some clarity on the sort of momentum around the career. That's what it feels. So I'm going to go back to the Kundalini keepsake. So let's see what we got going on here. And when I was creating these cards, it's like, obviously you can pull them to do the different meditations and the things, but I also have like little words on the bottom. So if you just want to pull the meaning. All right. All right, so let's pull some cards around the momentum. So what does the momentum look like for December for the career? All right, before you even pull a card, I'm already feeling like it's completely your decision on how fantastic and how explosive your career is going to be in December. All right, so I'm going to pull 2 cards here. Okay, so the first card that I pulled was forward bends. And so balance above and below. You're going to be operating in your more dreamy, esoteric, astral projecting space most of December, but it feels like you're going to be super cozy in there, and you're not going to have that fear or shame from operating there more than you are in the, like, in this physical 3D, 5D reality. And because the whole planet, everything is moving into this higher frequency, your like where you operate and how the earth is changing, like it's kind of balancing. So it's kind of like it's all the same anyway. So this whole balance below is you are going to be balanced naturally because you trust your ability to see beyond what's in front of you. So you're trusting that next step. So just allow those creations that you're creating, this sort of cozy space, like fully fall and surrender in those places. The next card that I pulled was the wisdom. So you can see it's like beautiful owl. So it feels like you're gonna get a lot more transmissions and downloads. So we already talked about how you're gonna be bombarded with information, but you're gonna get a lot of information, but it's gonna tell you when to use it. So it's like, okay, Mariah, I want you to use this information for this period of time, and I will need you to execute on that in 3 months. So your mind is gonna be able to calculate this information goes here. Your mind is gonna expand in such a beautiful, it's gonna be so nice. Your mind is gonna expand in such a beautiful way that you're gonna be so impressed with yourself. You're gonna be like, whoa, damn girl, how did I do that? Nobody knows. So allow this like impressive beauty that's going to come to the space, allow that to run the show, because if you don't and you go into doubt, then you're going to collapse, restrict, and you're going to go into a more depressive state and sort of feel guilt and shame for not trusting your creation. So don't let yourself go down that road. Allow yourself to move forward. And then just to clarify, because I asked for momentum, so the other card was the cow pose. So this is internal and external allowance. So that sort of feeds into we can see it here, that sort of feeds into what I was just saying. So your momentum is completely dependent on your practice, completely dependent on the value put around your work, completely dependent on how you show up, and completely dependent on how much you want to be seen. Like, you want to be seen 80% of the time, you want to be seen 10% of the time. It's like literally completely up to you. And there's this fear. I feel like this fear is like, okay, well, if I'm going to be so much on the front end dealing with humans and all the beauty, am I going to get so distracted that you feel like it feels like you feel like you're going to leave something behind by being so seen, but it's not the case. Like, you're literally coming home by being seen. So allow that to be the focus and the direction. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay. Let's do relationships. So last reading, we had to make some hard decisions, didn't we? We did. And, we had to choose relationships, whether romantic or friendship. So let's see what's going on for December for relationships. So we're going to pull relationships in regards to family, and we're also going to pull some cards around romantic and friendship. So all of the relations in the personal life. We'll see what's going on. All right, so let's do family. Yeah. Okay. So the first card I pulled is promise. So it feels like you're going to be put in situations where you're going to have to be the middleman, the middle woman, the middle human, because there's going to be, it looks like 3 to 4 family members are not going to agree on certain things, and you're going to have to be the person in between that sort of creates the bridge. And it's not even like it's not something that they've always thought they always were indifferent about. It's something that's sort of new in the space, and they're kind of trying to figure out how to operate with it. So this whole promise card is like, you're locked in. This is your position in this scenario. So just allow yourself to fully form and be in that space because they need you. And then the other card was spine. So this is the breath of fire position. So you're going to have... You're going to have to hold it together. You're going to have to make sure that your posture, your spine, whatever practice is allowing you to keep the body strong, there's going to be a lot of heavy emotion pressure in December around family. So you're going to have to be the pillar of light because everyone's going through some things. And sometimes we need to be the person for other people, and there's people for us when we need them, but you have the capacity to be strong for other people. So fall into that, trust that. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, no, I don't want to do that this year. Like, we don't need to come at it from that sort of naggy angle. We need to come at it from like, no, I can, it's chill. I can be neutral. It's fine. Because you've done so much work around being the neutral party that now it's like, okay, well, let's actually use it in real situations. All right, so we did fam. Let's do, what are we doing? Let's do romantic relationships. Did a live the other day and we were doing readings. Everyone's just like, relationships. Am I going to meet a man? When am I going to meet the man? Everyone's like asking the very direct questions on that situation because, right now it's a hard time to meet people because for obvious reasons. Okay, let's see what we got. Romantic relations. Okay, so the first card that I put was Let's Dance. So you're like, let's dance a clock. What does that mean, Mariah? So when I was creating this card, the way that you're moving, your relationship to time in regards to your movement is going to be reconfigured. So you're moving in this direction because it feels good at this time, but that's going to be alt deleted. It's going to be, I feel good and it doesn't matter what time it is. So how does this relate to relationships? So you're going to have to trust, I feel good with this person. I feel good in these conversations. I feel good in these situations, and you're gonna have to trust that. You're gonna have to forget about this whole, well, I need to be with this person for 2 years first, and then we're gonna be engaged for another year, and then, you know, and then we need like another 3 years, and then, you know, then we'll have a kid, and, you know, going through this sequence that we're sort of told was right. And I know for Virgos, it's like, well, I need to make sure to check off the boxes, blah, blah, blah. You know, you have to organize really intensely when it comes to those things. But in December, that's going to be thrown out the window, and you just need to live your life. Just live your life. The second card I pulled was time. So this version of like this whole time concept is the way that you are seeing it, but it feels like how you're watching other people and their relationship to time, and you're kind of like, that don't make no sense. Why are you doing that? So you're gonna have to, it feels like you need to sit in this quiet place and watch without watching the clock. Just be. And I know it's really hard for you because you need to check off all of the boxes all the time, and you have your meetings and all the things, but you really need to just sit in your own space and create your own quantum field. This is the place where you are the full master of time in your reality. So instead of it taking this long, it only takes this long. If you want that experience to be longer, then allow that to be longer. So don't allow time to become this heavy, don't have enough, have too much. No, let's create a new mantra of like, the time that I'm experiencing is perfect. Done. And then the other card for relationships is liberate internally. So this connects to this whole time situation. So in order to have a relationship that actually feeds you, that makes you feel full, there needs to be this very set, clear boundary on, this is how I'm living my life. These are the things that I'm not going to compromise. These are the things that make me feel alive. And if anything impedes that, then peace. Like, we need to be very liberated and aware and alive in our own lives. You can't be, you know, maybe later and like, we can't be at it anymore, because this whole liberation requires a full understanding of who I am, how I'm operating in spaces, how do I operate with these different types of people, how do I operate in my career, how do I want to operate in relationships, because it feels like your relationships, you've created a certain hum of allowance, and this allowance has been eating at you for a very long time, and now you're kind of like, I'm done, son. And it feels very enlivening. It feels really sacred. It feels like there's so much freedom because you're not paying attention to the rules anymore. And you're like, I'm a law breaker because Virgos like rules and organization, but this new way of operating is making you feel free. And then we'll do friendships. We'll do, I feel like I want to do Kundalini Keepsake for the friendships. Okay. Okay. All right. So the first card that we pulled was wisdom. So I'm seeing the number 8, and that is not going to be 8 friends running at yet. It feels like I know why. So it's connecting to this Lakshman. So it feels like you're going to create something with a friend that's going to make you a lot of manners. So, but you have to follow through with it. It can't be like half-assed nonchalant. It has to be all or nothing. So this whole wisdom situation is you need to have the wisdom, the connection to source enough, trust enough to allow those little subtle hints on how to move to be where you ground. And this whole second card of Lakshman, Lakshman. So that's mantra to activate prosperity. So it feels like you're going to have multiple opportunities, and you're kind of in this sweet spot where all of the people that you want to co-create with, you're actually friends with. So you get to pick and choose of like, I want to run with this now, or I want to run with this now. So whatever feels like really juicy and like luscious and fantastic in these moments, follow that. And this feels like we talked about these red carpets. So it might be one of these red carpets that people are, their friend is sort of waiting at the end for you, but they're kind of like, they're doing their own thing. They're not like, come on, let's go. They're doing their own thing and they're ready when you're ready. And then the other card, so it's stretch pose. And this is hold the pose longer. So if you have a habit of dropping things because they're too hard, or you don't complete it to its full brilliance because it's too hard, or you don't have the tools, or you don't know how, or you need more people, or whatever excuses that you've been using before that it didn't allow you to follow through, those gots to go. Because in order to come into this Lakshman, in order to come into that prosperity with you're creating like epic prosperity with your creation. So you need to hold the pose longer and trust that it's going to give you the return, because you've worked so hard. You've worked so hard for however long, and you're like, I'm starting to see this beauty. I'm starting to see all these things come out, but you're kind of like, well, I wish it, it could be like this. It could be a lot more, and it's coming. It's going to be epic, but you have to hold the pose longer. So that is friendship. Let's see what else we want to do. Let's just do general for the middle of December and see what we got. Let's see what we got. Middle of December. Okay, so the first card that I pulled was entering and removing. So the middle of December, you're gonna be on, it feels like a pause. There's going to be a pause because you're going to go through massive change at the beginning of December. But then it feels like the middle of December is like it's a bridge for the end of December. So you're going to be breathing at all of the creations, breathing everything that you created. And then the things, like it kind of feels like you breathe in creation and that little part didn't work and this wasn't quite right. You're going to breathe those things out and those things are going to be removed. So the next part of the journey for December, it's going to be so clean. It's going to be so crisp. You're going to be crying because it's so organized, and you're going to be really excited and you're going to be really proud of yourself for having that little pause. The next card that I pulled was Speak in Sync. So you're going to be, it feels like you're going to be melting. You're going to be melting in your surroundings. And I know you're like, well, we're on lockdown, right? What do you mean by surroundings? So your intuitive melting with different spaces, you just have to think about the space. You just have to think about the situation, and you can melt into it and make your decisions based off that. So you need to trust. You need to trust this is the information that's coming through, run with it. This is the information that's coming through, I need to run with it. Because you're so clean, you're going to be squeaky clean. You're going to be squeaky clean mid-December. So everything that you create over that sort of hump is going to be, great. And then the other card was Body React. So I feel like in the past, your food, I know that in November we talked about you need to get your food together. So it feels like in December, you're actually going to have a real routine around the food that the Virgo needs. You're actually going to understand this is exactly what I need to do in order to be efficient, to grow my body, to grow my mind, to be on time, to do all of the things. And it kind of feels you're going to be introducing new foods that you've never experienced, but they're going to blow your mind. It feels like a lot of richness and thankfulness and gratitude with the things that you're going to consume. So that's the general for the mid-December. Let's do an update on how, anything that's sort of gonna be really important, because when there's a pause, there's also a lot of things happening around that's gonna, it's kind of like there's externally or internally things that are like making you have to pause, because you're kind of like, I want to make sure that I understand all of the information before I move through. So let's see if there's anything sort of coming up in the middle of December that's gonna be blowing your mind. Okay. All right, so the first card I pulled was Sacred Temple. And I'm like, I know what that means for myself. So the Sacred Temple card, it's beautiful. So for this whole sacred temple, so the sacred temple that we're talking about is going to be your home. You're going to be, you know, decorating or clearing out stuff or moving, or you're going to sort of look at what's the energy like in every room. So you're going to be really conscious of what kind of energy fields are in these places, because it's going to be a hot mess on the outside. So we have to make sure that our homes are a reflection of where we are in our lives and our paths, and make sure that they feel nurturing and soothing. So when you walk in that door, you're like, yes, you know that you're in the right spot. Identity. So this is obviously really big. So in the middle of December, if I see you in front of a mirror and you're like pulling off a mask, the mask feels like all of the things, all of your, the things that you fall into when you feel insecure. I feel like those things are going to be ripped away from the body, but in a very clean, clear, and under control way. And it's going to feel, you're going to be like crying. I see you crying, and you're going to be very thankful that you did all this work to come to this place where you can fully be you without hiding anything in the back. And on this identity card, you can see that there's only, that's me, by the way. There's only half the face. So it feels like up to this point, there's a very solid version of you out in the world, but the fullness of you hasn't even entered. You don't even know. So we are going to, all of us, we are going to come into this place where you're going to even know even more about you. And you're like, what? I feel like I know me, but no, there's a whole other spectrum world about you that you haven't even tapped into. So that's going to start to open during the middle of December, and that's going to throw you in that pause. And then the last card was this forward bend situation. And so balance above and below. So obviously during this pause, you're going to be really looking at how everything's formatted, how everything's moving around you. And you're going to be really conscious of, how do I want to interact with these new things in this pause place that you're created. People are going to be very aware of that pause. So they're not going to be bombarding you. You get to choose when you're bombarded. All right, let's do finances, because we know everyone's in a different situation with their finances, especially with the world doing the world things, businesses, not having jobs, being hired, being fired, all of the things. So let's see what we're tapping in for finances. Okay. All right, so the first card that I pulled was known, and yes, that's me. So when I was creating this card, I am inside of this sacred temple, and it's like, you know exactly what's gonna make you money. You know exactly what's gonna bring you resources. You know exactly what you need to feed yourself and the dream. So knowing that, you can't pretend like you don't. So in the pretending will cause you pain. So if you're like, I know I need to make this step, then do the damn steps because you already know, you can't unknow. So just move through. Sorry if I'm yelling at you. I apologize. The other card was bow pose, so sacred posture. So we need to come at all the things that we're creating from a sacred place. There's no more like half-ass, hopefully that works, bro. Like no more, like people can see right through when you're just doing it because you feel anxious. People can see right through when you did it quickly and it's not really great. People can see exactly what you're, like the intention behind the things that you're putting out in the world. So make sure that you're holding that sacred posture with everything that you're moving through the world. So I don't want you like creating, I want you to be like, be a gazelle. And the last card was the tune in, Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. So that is the tune in for Kundalini Yoga, and that sort of connects us to the masters and the teachers and the lineage. So if you're not a Kundalini Yoga human, that's fine. So an interpretation would be, make sure that you're connected before you produce. Bottom line, period. I can't believe it just said that. So yes, just make sure that you are connected, and it's not like, yeah, I feel like that's what they want me to do. No, like I am being imploded by the universe because this is what the universe wants me to do. Like, I want you to feel like a transformer when you get an idea. If it's not transformer vibes, don't be doing it. Okay, anything else we want to touch on? We did career. Let's do the end. So let's do a general for the end of December. Let's see what we got. Alrighty. I knew that was gonna come out. Okay. You don't gotta tell me twice. Okay, so the first card that I pulled was intention. So we know at the end of December, you're like, it's a brand new year, a brand new place to do the things. And so this whole intention, this is a lion roaring. So it's like, we need to be very verbal, very honest, very tangible with the things that we're going to be putting in the world for January. So don't be hiding. You got to be excited because then the people will be excited. So be very intentional with how you're going to be putting stuff out into the world. And I want you to be writing it out. I want you to be saying it aloud because your words have value. Your words are going to create the physical manifestation. So I want you to be talking all day long. The second card was the cling, and this was upright. So I'm seeing like two people, one situation, two objects. I don't know. There's things that you're clinging on to, but they all have the same reason for. They all have the same energy around them, and that's why you're clinging to those objects, situations, and people. And they're soothing this like validation part in the body. So y'all need to get your shit together. So this whole cling, you can see that she's pregnant. So it's like she's reaching above for answers, and she's about to give birth to a beautiful, magical thing for the world. But, she's getting distracted by these people, situations, and objects. So we need to burn the things, throw the people out the door, cut off the situation, and move forward. We ain't got time for drama. The next card is destiny. You are my destiny. You are your destiny. So all of the things that you're creating, that is bringing you closer to the destiny. And destiny, it's not an endpoint. It's an ongoing thing. But the closer you get into it, the more profound you find yourself. The closer you feel empowered and connected and just so much more inside of your body. And that's where the power is, when you can feel fully inside of your body in the way that it moves, the way that you speak, the way that you see, all of the things. That's going to bring you closer to the destiny. And that's what's going to make you more attractive for the outside, for your business, for relationships, for all the things, because they can see that you're like 100,000% into your life. And nothing's going to pull you off, because there's nothing more unattractive than, you're full gun ho, and then your relationship, and then you're like, I guess not anymore. Oh, well, like, that ain't cute. That's not attractive. So allow yourself to fall into the destiny. So that is the end of December. I'm just going to pull some cards for anything else that wants to creep in that we don't know about. All right. Okay. All of the same cards. So not all of them. We have one new one. So the first one that I pulled was the forward bends. So balance above and below. So that's going to be a really big thing for you. And this sort of connects to that whole repositioning your space, moving whatever it is. You're going to have to make sure that you are consciously, intentionally being you are being very intentional with the way that you're operating in the spaces, because it feels like once you move into the end of January, there's going to be this balancing. So it kind of feels like when we're pulling the balance above and below, you were figuring out how to do that effectively, but now it's sort of going to stabilize in the end of December. The next card that I pulled was the life nerve stretch. And this says, reach beyond the standard. So you've continuously risen your standard over the last year, but now it's reaching to a point where you know that you can do a lot more and it can be even more magical, and you're kind of like, what do you mean? I'm pretty magical right now. I don't know if I can put any more magic in. You can. So you're gonna understand how to do that. And it kind of feels like it's gonna be around your efficiency, but you're like, I'm already efficient. What are you talking about? It's gonna be a next level that you haven't even experienced before. And this whole reach beyond like the standard is like, you know, when you like touch your leg or your foot for the first time when you weren't flexible, now you are flexible. So it's like, it's just going to open up new compartments of your mind that you haven't witnessed. So it's going to be very exciting. And then we also pulled the known card. So you're going to have a very clear idea of the transitions that are going to be happening from December to January. So don't resist. It's going to be very easy and in flow. So just allow that to be. All right, guys, that was your Virgo Vortex reading for December. And I hope that resonated at some capacity for you. I know it did for me. And it's so interesting reading a Virgo reading as I am, because I'm like, oh, okay. I'm getting information for myself, and it's I find it a really good tool to be detached from my own life while reading for the similar energy. So yeah, that's all I got for you. And I'll see you guys for January.